have a look at that. It's miles up. Oh, it's nearly taken someone out in the stands. That was a flat six right under the stand there, the George Giffen stand.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 4 of CRIQAZI, in which I, your host Pehram Qazi, will talk about the first test match played between Pakistan and Bangladesh, in which Pakistan won by an innings and 44 runs. And I'll also talk about the recently concluded ODI series played between New Zealand and India, in which New Zealand swept India 3-0. So let's get right into it. Some quick thoughts on Bangladesh before I move on to dissect Pakistan's performance. I think that Bangladesh severely missed, as expected, the services of their veteran pair of Shakib Al Hasan and Mushfiqur Rahim. And really, before this test match and now, I still cannot understand why the Bangladeshi selectors did not pick Mustafizur Rahman for this test match. He is their premier fast bowler and he definitely would have made a difference in this test match. He would have led the pace attack and they would have fared better, in my opinion. Another blow was the injury to Bangladesh's frontline spinner Mehdi Hassan Miraz. I think had he been there for this test match, Taijul Islam would have had more support and Bangladesh would have had better chances to compete. But not all was lost. There were some positives that came out for Bangladesh in this test match. I think that the youngster Nazmul Hussain Shanto played really well. He was assured in his stroke play and looked really comfortable for the period that he was batting out there. And then Abu Jayed with his accurate line and length, I think that he really was the pick of Bangladesh's pace bowlers and did get the prized wickets of in-form batsmen Babar Azam and Abid Ali. So I think Bangladesh will definitely benefit from one of those bowlers that bowls tight lines and lengths, does not give much room to the batsman and attacks the stumps. Long way to go though, and their series against Zimbabwe is very, very crucial. That is coming up. Bangladesh are favourites since they're playing at home, but do not take Zimbabwe lightly. They recently gave Sri Lanka a run for their money at home, and they really are desperate to perform at the biggest stage. I intend to discuss every single Pakistani player's performance in this test match, and what better place to start than the captain himself, Azhar Ali. Azhar looked pretty solid for his 34, but then I do believe that he threw away his wicket pretty cheaply by offering a loose stroke. But this was perhaps Azhar Ali's best game as captain across formats for Pakistan. He called correctly at the toss. He put in the visitors to bat, caught them out cheaply. Pakistan batted once, batted big, won by an innings, so he followed the script perfectly over there, and then he set very, very attacking fields, which was just great to watch as a spectator. But I think the hallmark of Azhar's game was his correct DRS calls. He had a number of them, and Naseem Shah wouldn't have had his hat-trick had Azhar Ali not called correctly. So very, very good game for him as captain. I hope he builds off of this, and I hope he scores some more runs as well. He did score a century against Sri Lanka, so he is a man in form. But Pakistan play their next test in April, so he will have to keep it up, and Pakistan do severely need the services of their skipper. Next up, I'd like to talk about the only two Pakistani players in this test match who did not have a good game. The first one is Abid Ali, man in form, had scored 200s in his first two test matches, was hoping to level Mohammad Azharuddin's record of scoring 300s in his first three test matches, but the law of averages caught up with Abid and he was dismissed for a duck by Abu Jayed. He's trying to play his favourite cut shot but nicked one behind to the keeper. Happens every now and then, especially with an opener. Every batsman is bound to get dismissed for a duck, and Abid should be persisted with. He has shown a lot of promise and he has earned his right to play for Pakistan in test match cricket right now. And he can be forgiven, but what cannot be forgiven is that pathetic attempt at a pull shot by Mohammad Rizwan. He had gotten in, was on 10, there was no need to play an aerial stroke. He could have kept grounded, but he went for that pull shot. The ball was not there to be pulled and he top edged to third man. So disappointing stuff from Rizwan. He will have to perform better with the bat since he is now playing all three formats for Pakistan, which is no easy gig. I will persist with Rizwan for now, but then there is Sarfaraz Ahmed waiting in the wings, who is now also very, very fit. So Rizwan better watch out. But for now, he should be in the 11 for the second test match in April. Time to talk about the two Centurions. First, I talk about Shan Masood. He scored 100 against Sri Lanka in his last test innings and then followed it up with another ton against Bangladesh. An impressive one as well. Scored exactly 100 runs off 160 balls, so that's an impressive strike rate. And Shan Masood is a player who played his first 12 test matches across a period of 5 years. So it was a very disjointed sort of start to his career, and he only averaged 23.5 with the bat. But ever since his return, since that South Africa series, Shan has played 8 test matches on the trot, and that has benefited him. He has averaged 45 in this period, and now has 2 consecutive hundreds in 2 innings. So that's a very, very positive outcome for him personally and for Pakistan cricket, since we all know how difficult Pakistan has found to find stable openers across formats. So very, very happy for Shan, and it's just the way he carries himself really comes across as a senior player in the team now, is extremely fit, and is a very, very good asset to have in that test team. So really wish him all the best for the next test match. Now let's go on to talk about Pakistan's batting prince that was promised. Babar Azam has broken into the top 5 batsmen in test match cricket, and he really does deserve it, since he has scored 4 test hundreds in his last 5 test matches. Had he not gotten out for 97 against Australia in that second test match, he would have had 500s in 5 consecutive test matches, and that is a marvellous feat. Even 400s in 5 test matches is a marvellous feat, and Babar really, his batting star continues to rise. He's fast becoming one of the premier batsmen in world cricket, and one can't fathom how far he can go. There's so much more room for improvement. I feel like Babar's the sort of player who just wants to be the best, and he will continue to improve. He won't settle for where he is at the moment. I think he did miss out on an opportunity to score big. He got out on 143 at the very beginning, very first ball he faced on day 3. Had he stuck around for a bit, I think 200, or maybe even 300 was on the cards, but he got a bit unlucky. He will learn from this and expect Babar Azam to score some big tons for Pakistan in the future. Before I go on to discuss the rest of the team, I'd just like to highlight one small thing. Before this test season started, there were questions being raised on Babar Azam's presence in that test team. He had scored a lot of runs in limited overs internationals, but he hadn't quite replicated that same form in test match cricket, and he averaged in the low 30s. So what better way to respond to your critics than score 400s in 5 test matches? Babar really has risen up to the occasion. He has announced himself in test match cricket. He has great balance. He scores at a very fast rate. Even in test match cricket, he scored his 143 of 193 balls, which is why I say 300 was a very big possibility. But the point I'm getting at over here is that even a player of Babar's quality needs some time to settle into the rigors of test match cricket. It takes any player a certain amount of time to find his feet in the longest format, and that is why cricket boards should persist with young talents in test match cricket and give them that prolonged period to sort of cement their place and understand how they can perform at that level. 2 other players scored 50 plus scores for Pakistan in this test match, and they were both lower middle order batsmen in Asad Shafiq and Haris Sohail. Shafiq now, he looked really good for his 65, and he scored a number of these 60s and 70s in this test season, but he really needs to push on to score that big score, and I think that it's just round the corner. Asad Shafiq is a very experienced player, and I really enjoy watching him bat. He's really compact, and it's just a matter of time, I feel, that he does score that big 100. But yes, he's kind of stuck in a rut now. He's been getting out for these 60s and 70s quite a bit. And Haris Sohail, he had scored 3 scores of under 10 runs in his last 3 test innings, so he really, really needed that score, and he scored a very good and aggressive 75, played with the tail, got Pakistan to 445. He is the player who ensured Pakistan, in a way, won by an innings. And Haris Sohail, I think, is very useful in Pakistan and Asian conditions because he can also bowl a bit of spin. So he took 2 wickets in this test match too when Yasir wasn't performing in the first innings. So he is an asset, and that's why I think he's done enough to earn a spot over Fawad Alam in Asian conditions. But then again, there's a big question mark over Haris's performance abroad, and Pakistan are touring England in the summer, and I'm not sure if Haris will make the lineup, especially since his spin bowling wouldn't really help Pakistan a lot either. But good for Haris that he's gotten a score under his belt. It was a quick fire 75, and that's the sort of role he has to play in this team. He has to bat well with the tail, and that he did in this test match. Now, ever since Pakistan has switched home bases from the UAE back to Pakistan, one player in particular has found it extremely difficult. This player, you guessed it, is Yasir Shah. Pakistan's champion leg spin bowler who became the fastest bowler to take 200 test wickets not too long ago. And this he achieved by bowling on spin assisting tracks in the UAE. I mean, Yasir also has a lot of wickets in Sri Lanka and West Indies, and even has wickets in England. The only two places that he's struggled are South Africa and Australia. But Yasir finds himself in a bit of a pickle. He wasn't impressive at all against Sri Lanka, and even here in the first innings against Bangladesh at Rawalpindi, he wasn't really making the ball talk. But then, really pleased for Yasir as well, because he came back strong in that second innings and got a 4-wicket haul. That does not mean that Yasir is back. He still has to find that same kind of mojo. He has to find his rhythm, and he has a lot of work to do in order to adjust to these pitches in Pakistan, which don't offer that much turn. But then again, Pakistan should back Yasir Shah. He's won countless number of test matches for Pakistan, and he deserves to be backed. I think that Misbah will definitely throw his weight behind him, and I hope that Yasir finds that form of old again, because when he's in that kind of form, Pakistan always win. One of the most exciting aspects of following Pakistan cricket currently is the fact that two teenage pace sensations are making the headlines in Test cricket. Naseem Shah and Shaheen Shah Afridi, while they found it a bit difficult in Australia, they've come back really strongly. Both picked up their first 5-wicket hauls in Test match cricket against Sri Lanka in Karachi, and now they've backed it up with another strong performance. Shaheen was brilliant with the ball in the first innings. He took a very valuable 4-wicket haul, and he is the reason Bangladesh were dismissed for 233 in the second innings, and in the first innings, sorry. And then Naseem Shah. He wasn't so impressive in the first innings, but then he's building up a bit of a reputation of becoming a second innings destroyer, in the words of Ramiz Raja. Bangladesh was sitting pretty at 121 for 2, and then in came Naseem and became the youngest ever cricketer to take a test match hat-trick. All of a sudden, Bangladesh was 6 down at the end of the day, and Pakistan was very close to an innings victory. So, had Naseem not taken that hat-trick, maybe Bangladesh would have made Pakistan bat again. But really, it goes on to show the character of this young kid. He lost his mother while he was on tour in Australia, and now, after having a bit of a tough ride in Test cricket early on, he's really found his own, and after that 5-wicket haul to take a Test match hat-trick in front of a packed home crowd, it really is phenomenal, and I just hope that PCB take care of Naseem Shah properly. He has gotten a bit of a niggle during this game, and the PCB is notorious for ruining fast bowlers' careers, so I really hope that they take good care of Naseem Shah, because this kid is a prodigy. If you can bowl at 147, 148 at 16 years of age, imagine what this kid will be when he's 24. He is an absolute gem of a cricketer to have come into the ranks in Pakistan's test team, and then he is aided by the brilliant Shaheen Shah Afridi, who is the spearhead of Pakistan's attack across formats, in my opinion, right now. He continues to get better, he continues to improve, and his height really helps him, but he has started to move the ball either way, which is really, really key. So, I think that Pakistan should rest Naseem for the PSL if that means that he has to play the test match in April, because I don't want any niggles come April. He should be playing that test match, and really, I insist, if someone in the PCB is watching this video, please, please, please take care of Naseem Shah. We've got one more player to discuss before we move on to talk about New Zealand and India, and that player is Mohammad Abbas. Now, Abbas had a staggering start to his test career. He took his first 50 wickets in very quick succession, but he has since then stalled. I'd go back to that series against New Zealand in the UAE that Pakistan lost 2-1. Since then, Abbas hasn't been the same bowler. He has gotten better in this season. He found a bit of rhythm in that Sri Lanka series, and he was decent in this game against Bangladesh. He is still very, very economical and miserly, does not give a lot of runs, but what he's lost is that penetration. Abbas used to pick up wickets on the regular, and now he's not able to do that anymore. And I think that he might have faced a bit of burnout playing the county championship for 2 seasons and every test match for Pakistan. But there is a bit of a question mark over Abbas now, since he's lost a bit of pace. But I think that with the England series coming up, and the fact that Abbas fared really well in England when he toured in 2018, he should be backed, and Pakistan in the next test match in April against Bangladesh should go unchanged. They have some time to recoup, even though that's not the best thing since the test team will lose a bit of rhythm. But Pakistan is a much stronger team than Bangladesh. They should keep going with this winning combination and expect them to win the series 2-0, and really, really hope that Abbas can have a good game over there and can star with the ball. After getting demolished at the hands of India in the T20 International Series by a margin of 5-0, including 2 super over defeats, the Kiwis replied very strongly in the ODI series and swept India 3-0, which by no means is an easy feat since India is a very, very solid team in all formats, home and away. But I think that both sides were depleted, and it's a fair statement to say that India missed Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan more than New Zealand missed Trent Boult, Lockie Ferguson and Matt Henry. All 3 games were tightly contested. India could have won all 3, but New Zealand played better in the key periods of the game, each game. And in the first ODI, India set up a mammoth total of 347, which New Zealand chased with certain ease, only because from overs 30 to 40, they accelerated really fast and not a lot of score was left in the final 10. They did have wickets in hand as well. In the second ODI, India really should have won that since they had New Zealand at 197 for 8 in the first innings. From that point onwards, Ross Taylor, who scored a century in the first game, went on to score an unbeaten 73 in the company of debutant Kylie Jamieson, who also went on to get the wicket of Virat Kohli when New Zealand was bowling. And India, they started really slow in that chase, but then they were in a position where they could have won it. Navdeep Saini started scoring a lot of runs, which was very unexpected since he is built to be a bowler. But then when India needed around 24 runs in the final 2, there was a crucial run out due to which they lost the plot. In the third ODI, India were batting really well, looked solid for a score of around 330 when Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul were batting, but then they couldn't quite accelerate in the final 10, ended with 296 and the New Zealanders chased it with relative ease. It did get tricky at one point, but then Colin de Grandhomme just came in and scored a rapid 58 of 28 balls, and that's where New Zealand had wrapped it up. So lots of positives for New Zealand. They didn't have 3 of their main bowlers in Matt Henry, Lockie Ferguson and Trent Boult, but then they gave some opportunities to some new debutants in Hamish Bennett and Kylie Jamieson, who took their opportunities with open arms, and they've given New Zealand a lot of bench strength, really. And Kane Williamson was even not playing the first 2 ODIs. So India will be pretty disappointed with this result, and New Zealand all the more happy. They've gone through a lot of emotional turmoil, having lost 4 super overs in recent memory, one of which was the World Cup final. But they're a seasoned ODI team, and I'm just going to go on and discuss how good both of these teams are, how world-class they are when they are full strength. First, I will discuss what in my opinion is India's best combination for limited overs cricket, and while I do that, I'll talk about the performances of each player that played in this series. So, the openers should be Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma. So much experience over there. Rohit Sharma is a modern ODI great. I think no opener in the world has done as well as Rohit in ODI cricket in the past 10 years or so. And India really did miss their experience in the ODI series. Now, Rohit was there for the T20 series, and he did play an important part in the super over games and in general to ensure that India won 5-0. So, in the full strength 11, I would have Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan as the openers. Prithvi Shaw can be back up on the bench. Mayank Agarwal, I think, can stick to Test cricket for now. He didn't quite impress in ODI cricket. Virat Kohli is the obvious answer to India's number 3 spot. Now, Kohli had a very, very lean series. The first time I can remember him having such a bad series. Only scored 75 runs in 3 games at an average of 25. Very unlike Kohli numbers, and India obviously did suffer as a result. But, of course, Captain Kohli will be number 3. Number 4 and 5, in my opinion, should be the new finds, Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul at 5. I think this is a revelation. Rishabh Pant is a bit erratic in my opinion, and even though he's very talented, I think KL Rahul, he has proven to the world that he can bat sensibly at number 5 and can accelerate at the same time. So I think that even though India lost the series 3-0, they have gotten a big positive in both Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul, who have been their best players this series. Shreyas Iyer scored 100 in the first game, then 250s. in the next two. So this sort of consistency from a number 4 in India's team has really been a rarity in recent years. India have been struggling to find a good number 4, so I think they're very lucky that they have found Iyer, and they should persist with him. He should continue on to play for India, and his spot should be secured, especially after the series. And then KL Rahul. He's always been a great athlete. He's always looked a very sensible cricketer, very classy cricketer. India have kept trying him at as an opener, but I think he's finally he's found his true spot in this lineup. KL Rahul, I think, having him as wicketkeeper batsman and playing him as at number 5 is pretty much the best thing to have happened to Indian cricket post World Cup. I think that India have found their combination a bit late. Had they done this in the World Cup, they might have won it. But I think KL Rahul, 50 in the first game, very fast 80, and then a very, very classy 100 in the third game. I think he's done enough to hold down that wicketkeeper batsman spot, and he should continue to play for India at number 5. So top 5 we have Shikhar, Rohit, Kohli, Iyer, and KL Rahul. Number 6 for me, obviously, when he's fit, Hardik Pandya any day of the week. I do not understand why India is wasting time with Kedar Jadhav and Shivam Dubey and Shardul Thakur. I don't rate these players very highly, and especially when you've got Pandya back, I don't see any of these players playing. So Pandya at number 6. And then I feel that India have already got so much firepower with the bat that they can actually afford to play 5 bowlers. One of those bowlers who would come at number 7 is Ravi Jadeja, who can bat so well as well. I think he is one of the best all-rounders going around in world cricket these days, and especially in one-day cricket. And I think that Jadeja offers a lot of control with the ball. He's very economical. He can, score very quick with the bat. I think he's indispensable to this Indian team. Should play every single limited overs game for them, and should come in at number 7. And then for the 4 bowlers, I would have for obvious reasons, I would have Mohammad Shami and Jasprit Bumrah. They're India's best quick bowlers right now currently across formats, I would say. And then, according to the conditions, I would play the other 2 bowlers. If it's a spinning track, I would play both the leggies, Chinaman Kuldeep Yadav and the leg spinner Yuzvendra Chahal. But if it's a seaming track, I would drop one of those leggies, probably Kuldeep Yadav, because I rate Chahal higher. And then I'd bring in Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who is... It's a no-brainer when it comes to a third seamer for India in limited overs cricket. I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he can even bat a bit, and his line and lengths are very, very good. He can really draw the edge very, very frequently. So I think that would be my full-strength Indian 11. It would be Sharma, Dhawan, Kohli, Iyer, KL Rahul, Pandya, Jadeja, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah, and Yuzvendra Chahal. Or you could play Kuldeep Yadav instead of Bhuvneshwar Kumar, depending on the conditions. On to the Kiwis, who are one of my favorite sports teams in all of sport. New Zealand is such a rich sporting country. Rugby is their most popular sport and they're best at it. But even in cricket, such a tiny country with a small population, yet they keep on producing world-class cricket teams. In the last 2 cricket World Cups, 50-over World Cups, they have made the final. And when you really talk about all the names on that team sheet, it is world class, no 2 ways about it. So let's discuss the full strength 11 for New Zealand, in my opinion. The openers will be Martin Guptill and Henry Nicholls. Now Guptill had a very poor World Cup, was short of runs for quite a while. Perhaps he went through his most lean patch in ODI cricket, a man who has scored 237 or 38 in the past. He will be really, really pleased with his performance in this series. Now, Guptill got 250s, he led from the front, and he's such a dynamic cricketer. He's starred for New Zealand on so many occasions. He scores fast, and he's a great player to watch. I think Martin Guptill has got a lot left in the tank, and New Zealand can churn out runs from him for a while, maybe at least 2-3 years. Alongside with him, Henry Nicholls. Now, Colin Munro was New Zealand's opener in the World Cup, but then due to lack of runs and consistently getting out early, he was displaced by Henry Nicholls. And I think in this series, Henry Nicholls has finally cemented their spot as opener. Now, Nicholls had a good patch in Test cricket in previous years, but this is his first sort of introduction to ODI cricket, and I think he's done well as opener. His 80-odd in the third game was really, really crucial, and I think that he's a classy cricketer, stylish. I think he can build on this, and he really forms a very, very stable opening partnership with Martin Guptill. I mean, if you watched those guys run, it's really a spectacle. Really, really good runners between the wickets. At number 3 would be Kane Williamson, in my opinion, New Zealand's best ever batsman in history. He does supersede Martin Crowe and Ross Taylor for me. And Kane Williamson, he's just such a sweet timer of the ball. He wasn't even there in the first 2 ODIs, but his influence on this team is much more far-reaching. He's a very dignified sort of personality in the cricketing world. One of my personal favourites, and for obvious reasons, he would be New Zealand's number 3 and captain. At number 4, we have perhaps one of the most underrated batsmen of this generation, Ross Taylor. In the past 5 years, he averages over 60 with the bat in ODI cricket, and even in an ODI career of over 200 ODIs, he's played like 215 or 20, he averages 48, above 48. Those are phenomenal numbers. I mean, Inzamam ul Haq, considered a legend of the game, averaged 39.5 in ODIs. That just goes on to show you how good Ross Taylor actually is and how underappreciated he is. So, without a smithereen of doubt, he would be my number 4. At number 5, we would have the impressive keeper Tom Latham. Latham has been a steady part of this team for quite a while now, and he is also one of those players who, when he gets set, can really accelerate. So I think he should be at number 5. That's a no-brainer for me. Number 6, 7 and 8. New Zealand's 3 very, very promising and sort of crucial all-rounders in Colin de Grandhomme, James Neesham and Mitchell Santner. Now, had you asked me 4 years ago, I would have told you New Zealand's best all-rounder was going to be Corey Anderson. But boy, have these 3 impressed. Colin de Grandhomme is the sort of player who can offer you control with the ball, is a bit nippy as well, even though he's medium pace. And then he's an absolute basher with the bat. Complete maverick sort of a player and can come on the pitch and completely take bowling lineups apart. Then we have James Neesham, who I think is their most consistent all-rounder. Neesham is the sort of player who can play according to the situation. If wickets need to be kept in hand, he can play that role as well, and then he can also hit the ball a fair distance. He's also a very good bowler. He can bowl at a pretty quick pace, and he's had such a good year. He had a good World Cup that I think that he's going to have a very, very bright future for New Zealand cricket, and they should stick to him for the very, very long period. Mitchell Santner would be at number 8. Now, Santner isn't quite Dan Vittori, but he is very, very handy with both bat and ball. On New Zealand tracks, it's very hard to be a good spinner since the grounds are short and the wickets don't turn much. But Santner is a very he's a controlled bowler, and he can go for runs sometimes, but he can pick up wickets in between. He's a partnership breaker, and I think that he adds good variety to the attack with his left arm spin. If Santner is not to be played, then New Zealand always have Ish Sodhi on the bench, who is a decent leg spinner, but I personally would play Santner. And then we have 9, 10, 11. 3 fast bowlers would go there. And New Zealand really have a wealth of fast bowlers at this point. Tim Southee has reached the twilight of his career, isn't quite the same, but had a decent series. Then I think the 2 bowlers that must play are Trent Boult and Lockie Ferguson, both of whom were absent due to injury in this series. And then the 3rd spot, I would go for Matt Henry over Southee. Because Henry he had that 3 for 37 against India in the World Cup semi-final. And he reminds me of Shane Bond. And then having 2 express pace bowlers in Henry and Lockie Ferguson, along with Trent Boult, who is perhaps one of the best left-arm bowlers around in world cricket these days across formats. I think that would be a very, very potent attack. Henry, Ferguson and Trent Boult. And if one of these is injured, you have a wealth of options to choose from. You have Tim Southee, not only Tim Southee, the experienced Tim Southee, but also 2 youngsters who have just broken onto the scene in this series in Kylie Jamieson and Hamish Bennett. Now, Bennett is the sort of bowler who will bowl those knuckleballs, slower ones, really hard to pick his pace, and I think he could be an asset for New Zealand in T20 cricket. And then Jamieson, he is a bit raw, not the greatest fielder, but it's good that New Zealand have those options now. And this is really a world-class 11. They could beat anyone, not just on their day, on any day. And they have been very, very consistent in ODI cricket. So I expect them to keep going on well, and they will definitely keep bringing in the results, especially till Kane is around as captain. That's a wrap, guys, for this episode. For a long time I was creating shorts, but there was so much to talk about this time that I thought I'd go on and make a full-fledged episode. But if you like this content, if you enjoyed this content, please like, share, and subscribe by hitting that bell icon below. And if you have any feedback for me, I'm always all ears. And if you want me to cover certain content, please let me know. You can do all of this by adding comments to this YouTube video, and I will try to reply to them as well. I tweet at Def Mango, and the Instagram and Facebook pages are called CRIQAZI. Please follow them, tell your friends, and keep bringing in that love. It really helps me keep going. That's all for today, guys. See you next time.